You got it. 7 p.m. I'll call this meeting of the Common Council to order. Would you please rise for the pledge of allegiance? Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next roll call from Treasurer Aldrich.
Carolyn Pearson, Richard Garrison, Richard Trader,
Present.
Brian Garrison,
Present.
Dale Seward,
Here.
Mike Shockley.
Present. Council's been presented with the minutes from the September 5th regular meeting. I received no minutes to be made to this set of minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
I move for approval of the common council minutes on September 5th.
Second. There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. The council's been presented with the minutes from that September 18th special meeting. I received no amendments to be made to this set of minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Moving next to reports from officials, committees, boards, commissions, and departments. The council has received reports or minutes from those identified in the agenda. Would any councilor like to ask any question of a member of the executive branch regarding these reports or minutes? Hearing none, is there anything to supplement these reports? I know we have the minutes from the community center meetings. Is there anything to supplement that, Ms. Daly?
Did receive 2 private donations today, total of 300, and this is a list of everybody's coming in today.
Thank you. Is there anything further in terms of reports?
I have my LPC report, which I'll do verbally. if that's okay.
Yes, sir.
Two things that kind of affect us. We voted to rezone 2 or 3 parcels of land in Pittsburgh so that the dock could expand, and we passed that along to the commissioners. The other thing is we voted to give a positive recommendation on the city zoning, which will be, I assume, brought up later. I believe it's on the agenda. Yes. So we gave a positive recommendation on that.
Thank you, Councilman. Are there any questions for the councilman?
Ms. Walls here with us?
All right. I will move next. Ms. Maxwell in the audience. All right. With that, we'll move to new business. This is ordinance 2017-12, read by title alone. Ordinance Title 7, Chapter 70.061, title Actual Restrictions upon Vehicles Using Certain Roadways, and ordinance Title 7, Chapter 75, title Traffic Schedules, Schedule 9. Prior to debate on this matter, I would ask if there is a motion to pass ordinance 2017-12 on first reading.
I don't know where everybody else stands, but with the procedural aspect of the fact that we would not be able to suspend rules with a 3-2 vote, and I'm assuming everybody's pretty much dug into that 3-2 vote, I don't see the necessity of bringing that to a vote. I mean, that's my personal opinion. I think it would be better served to maybe talk about this throughout the year for 2018, but that's just my personal thoughts about it.
Any other comments, yes, sir?
First time I had 2 people actually call me on this that was negative, and 10 people on the street have stopped me. They were all against it. So they're all citizens that we're working for, so I would agree with Dale that I think it's going to go forward.
Councilors?
I've had
4 people called me from, and I've also talked to several people about it. 3 of them own city property, live outside the city. Those were for it. I've had several people inside the city tell me, no, they weren't for it. So I set it up, and I also had some that tell me that they were for it. And it's a 50-50 with me. So I say that we take it.
Anything further from the council?
Well, I'll just go ahead and reinforce what's going on. I went up and talked to a few of the restaurants. I found no one really interested in it up there. They thought it was a return, referred by one about being more of a health and safety because of the people up and down through the street with more traffic, adding more traffic by allowing the trucks. The other one was the outside dining and dealing with the fumes and the dust from all the trucks that are running up in there. I had one reply from an individual who was misunderstood in who actually takes care of this revenue. So that was the only one I had that thought we were being selfish to our farmer friends. I've received 3 calls, all the calls telling me to stand my ground and to not release. They choose not to have the truck. So to me, them are the people that live in the city. I watched numerous trucks over this last couple of weeks going up the hill. I understand it's more of a challenge to get them up the hill, but I watch other industries taking their trucks up there too. So I'm all for not changing.
Thank you, Councilman President Pro Tem Pearson.
Well, we do have a representative from the affected, that asked us to consider this, so can we allow him to speak?
Sir, would you like the floor? Sure. First of all, thank you guys for considering this, and I absolutely understand your position, and I also apologize for not being made aware of this earlier so that we could do this in a form before the ordinance was passed. It does put the Andersons in a pretty tough spot in that roughly a fourth of our business comes from, if you think of the city and just the 4 quadrants around it, about a fourth of our business, of course, comes from north and west of town. So when we measure our market share at 0.5%, when we consider that 25% of our business is at risk, that's somewhat devastating. I understand the concerns about the downtown. I understand the concerns about the upkeep on the road. I do believe, and the engineers that we've talked to, and within our own company, of course, we have asphalt roads all throughout our organization. A truck running straight, not starting and stopping, not turning, we firmly believe that it's minimal, negligible damage that could be done to the city street. We also want to reiterate that while the farmers driving the trucks through town or the owners of the grain on those trucks likely do not pay significant city taxes or any city taxes, the Andersons is a significant city taxpayer. And it's that consideration that we wish you to consider. Understand your position, appreciate your time.
Thank you. Do we have any questions from the representative from Anderson's?
Yeah, happy to take questions about my note or what we're asking.
I do.
Yeah, Mike?
Jim, how long has the Andersons been in business here?
We opened in the fall of '75.
Fall of 75, so for what, 25, 42 years?
Yes.
Thank you.
Do we have any further questions from the representative from the Andersons? Do we have any motions on ordinance 2017-12? Hearing none, we will consider this ordinance dead at this time. Ms. Maxwell?
Yes.
Guys?
I'm sorry, we were
Left floor.
upstairs.
Coalition. I'm here to talk to you about the proposed quarry that is, the proposed quarry by Rogers Group to go in near Americus and why we don't think it's good for this community. This is just a quick packet. I will not take a lot of your time. The first 2 pages are the first page is a really nice color picture. This is from 2003, and I'm sure many of us remember those floods that we all suffered through in 2003. The first one shows on the far right the ditch that we have with the Deer Creek Prairie Levee Association. As you can see, it's full and overflowing with water, and it goes right on into the Wabash River, which is overflowing. And you can see the roadway in there, it's all marked. And where the stars are is where the proposed quarry site is. The next set of pages are the plat book map, and that shows where the green area is where Deer Creek Prairie Levee Association protects. We have a quarry that runs all along the Wabash River through there. We have approximately 1,800 acres, 2,000 acres right in through there of farm ground that we protect. And attached to that are the typewritten. I didn't make the copies of the handwritten from 1890, but I typed them out. The typed out articles of association from 1890 when the Deer Creek Prairie Levee Association was first formed. It's been around since 1890 to protect those acres. There were many farmers back then. Now we're down to about 4 farmers down there. The red stripes are the watershed that comes down from Carroll County, comes down in through that area, down into the green area. Then we have a pumping station that goes into the Wabash River. And then there's a little star down there about the S of the Wabash. And that's where the proposed quarry site is. And the reason we're against this is because of the blasting and the damage that that can do to our quarry, or to our levee, excuse me. And the proposed silt buildup, no matter how much they fill with the water, that's going to eventually damage the flow of the Wabash. It's going to make a buildup, and it's going to change the flow of the Wabash River. And as we all know, when water does not get to flow, it backs up. It does not sit and wait patiently like cars do at a train stop. The next page is just the text that goes into much more detail, but I gave you the Tippecanoe County Executive Area Planning Commission. The next part is 100-year flood. It explains it out in much more detail. And then attached to that are really neat information from the NOAA website for historical Wabash River crest. And you can see in the past few years, there's been some significant floods on the Wabash River. And this is why it's really important for Delphi to be involved in this, because when the Wabash River backs up, it backs up into Deer Creek. And we all know what happens when Deer Creek floods. It floods into Delphi. And this is why we want Delphi, City of Delphi, to be involved in this, because it's not just our farm ground in Tippecanoe Township, Carroll County, and Tippecanoe Township, Tippecanoe County that's affected. It does eventually back up into Delphi also. The next page is the America's Area Community Coalition talking points. And the last page are guidelines for writing letters to Tippecanoe County BZA, and they are very specific. And I have them all detailed out for you. If you write a letter, you are not allowed to speak at the meeting on October 25th or any subsequent meetings. So make sure if you write the letter that you don't plan to speak at a later meeting. We would appreciate any and all of you speaking out at the meetings. We do have the Carroll County Commissioners signing a resolution. They had previously agreed to sign a resolution that they are against having the quarry built there for the damage that it will affect Carroll County in the future. It's not going to affect us the first year more than likely. It may not affect us for a number of years, but it will affect us eventually. It will affect our quarry, or our levee, and the quarry blasting will affect our levee, and the buildup of silt in the river will. And when it affects our farm ground, that affects Carroll County, it affects our tax base, it affects a lot of things, and it will eventually affect the City of Delphi. So I've got a lot of really good information, and I thank Shane so much for allowing me just a very few minutes, because I know you have a very full agenda. Please feel free to call me. Please plan to attend our meetings. October 25th is when we think we will be on the agenda for the BZA down there. I will gladly speak to any of you, or my main focus is on the farm ground. We have many others who can speak more on different aspects of why we are against the quarry, and I can refer you to others if you have more specific questions. And I will take any questions that you have now.
Any questions for Ms. Maxwell?
I do. Explain to me, you said that the river could back up.
Yes.
So what you're saying is, if that quarry goes in, it could change the flow of the river, is it the Wabash? Is that
Yes.
what you're doing? Okay. And then that could back up, and that affects our river here, or our creek here in town, right? Is that what you're saying?
They will filter what they discharge back into the river.
Okay.
But we all know, no matter how much you filter water that has silt, there will be silt that goes into the river.
Okay.
And there will be turmoil that goes into the river. When you discharge water into the river, it will stir up, and so it will shift the base. And so things will change in the flow of the river. So what was smooth, if it builds up and things change, and you can't affect Mother Nature. When Mother Nature changes and a storm comes up, and now you have a ridge in the river to where it impedes the flow of the water. Water is not like a car that waits at the railroad track. Water backs up. That's what our concern is, that when the water backs up, it will put pressure on our levees. Our levees have been there, it started in 1890, and they have been improved and well cared for, maintained all these years. The blasting is a concern of ours. And so when you put pressure that impedes water flow and it backs up, and you've had stress from blasting, stress from higher water levels, that can weaken the levee to where we have breaks. And we've had one, and I hope I never see it again.
So what you're saying is the danger to Delphi is it just flooding, or does it have the potential to interrupt our water situation?
Well, when you look at that to see where the Taze River flows, and I'm not sure how much Delphi gets the water from Taze River supply.
None currently, we're looking to get it from the Taze in the future.
Yeah, the Taze River and the Wabash River are very closely together,
Yeah.
right where the blasting site is. Taze runs from, is it West Virginia or Virginia? I mix them up, to Missouri. So, you know, you're looking at a large potential of water to possibly be affected in there. You know, there's another option that you're looking at. You're not just looking at the Wabash backing up, which can back up Deer Creek. You're also looking at what happens if the Taze River gets affected.
Right.
So there's two good reasons for you to be involved in this and to at least be informed. And I know I gave you a whole lot of info. Yes, Mike?
My question is, we have a levee here,
Yes.
and I know that it was breached in the last, there by the bicycle bridge road. Are they going to build a levee beyond, inside the levee that's along the river?
We have a levee that runs from Bicycle Bridge,
Yeah,
there by Mrs. Crossman's,
right.
and it runs all the way around to where the road goes up the hill at 950
Yeah.
in Tippecanoe County. That is a levee.
Mm-hmm.
What you have down by the baseball park is the old interurban tracks.
True, true.
It's not a true levee, it acts as one.
Right, right.
What there is over by the Bosma property is a smaller levee, and their overburden would be in a floodplain, and I think that is where they are having some issues, because Tippecanoe County, that would be considered an island when they dig out. If you could see the video, and I wish you could come to some of our meetings, I believe the next one is the 19th. It will be at Wolf's Leisure Time Campground on Old 25. They have the most fabulous video. This pit, when it's all dug, there's 30 foot of overburden that they have to dig out before they ever even get down to this rock that's not the quality of what our U.S. aggregates is, but it is a limestone quality. And the pit depth will be 2 3/4 Statue of Liberty deep. Yeah. This is not just a nice little hole in the, this is immense. I mean, you really need to see this video to appreciate what they are attempting to put in. So the people that are living in Americus are more concerned with depletion of their wells. My speaking point is the farm ground and the water back up into Delphi and Carroll County and the flooding. So that's the part that I speak on. But I really encourage everyone to come in and get involved in this, because even though it's Tippecanoe County, it has the potential to affect upriver.
Any further questions for Ms. Maxwell?
And like I said, my name, my address, my phone number, my email is on there. Please call me, please contact me. I will get you whatever information you need.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Ms. Walls, is sitting in the back there, would you like to give your presentation?
Oh, yeah.
Council, long time no see. I'm here just to give a quick update on some of the EDC activities since the last time I was here. In your packet was a memo from the EDC highlighting our activities. The first thing, earlier this year, you should have received our close-up report, which highlighted our activities from 2016 that came out this year. We have been using this to submit to site selectors and companies that are looking at sites here in Carroll County. The feedback's been very positive. We have had a lot of activity. In 2017, we've had 25 leads from site selectors, and a lot of those leads have been generated by our marketing efforts. I believe with the close-up, you also would have received this brochure. This information packet. It was part of the Hoosier Heartland Industrial Park marketing that we did late last year. And we did a comprehensive marketing plan with this. Not only we updated our website, we created note cards that we've been using to follow up with site selectors and companies as they come to visit, PowerPoint presentation, a video, some postcards, e-newsletters that we've been using to market our site. And those efforts are paying off. We've had 25 good leads from site selectors, and we've had 13 leads from the state. We've also generated these leads because we haven't just printed out all of this stuff and sat on it and waited for people to contact us. I've really pounded the pavement, getting in front of site selectors. I went to New York and Atlanta this year with the Indiana Economic Development Corporation. And our office also organized site selector trips to Chicago and to Indianapolis to meet with site selectors. And we're getting ready to go back to Chicago next month to meet with more site selectors. We also attended the Indiana Site Selector Guild. So we are pounding the pavement to get in front of site selectors and tell our story, which we think is a really good story about Delphi and Carroll County and the HHIP. We've also worked very hard with our existing industries. If I can be blunt here, I feel like I have failed the Andersons, and I just want to say that I feel like I failed you as well, that we couldn't, about this East Main Street and making that connection between the Andersons and you to come up to a solution ahead of time before we got to this point, which now it's critical and too late to turn back. And I don't know if things could have been different, but I wish could have acted on it sooner. And so I feel personally like I have failed you and the Andersons, and we didn't get that done. And try not to let that happen again. This is a really good learning opportunity, and won't make this mistake again. We've worked with the developers on the North Washington Street corridor, Peters Industrial Development and Delphi Industrial Park. And I'm talking to Jeff Van Weldon and Dow Denlinger all the time, getting them information when they have needs that come in. They have questions to be asked. I get that data and information to them as quickly as I can. And also, we've also brought them leads. And we just actually made a connection on a good lead that'll take up a significant amount of square footage. But that Peters Industrial Development has taken off. There is a definite need for warehousing space in our market, and their facility needs it. We've also worked very closely with Indiana Packers. Since the last time I was here, we announced Project Chill, which was the cold warehouse facility. That was a competitive project. They were looking at real estate anywhere from Delphi to Holland, Michigan, and they could have located that project anywhere in between. They looked at property in northern Indiana and southern Michigan. They told me what they needed. We sat down with them. We found a local solution to incentivize that project, which turned out to be improving County Roads 100 North and 625 West. Worked with the County Redevelopment Commission to use TIF dollars to make those road improvements, which are just now underway. The warehousing goes online this month, along with the new expanded bacon process facility. That also goes online this month. The bacon was 92 new jobs. The cold warehousing, a lot of it's automated, which is good because they have hundreds of jobs unfilled today. So they are hiring, but thankfully this won't put any pressure on their workforce. We still administer the Delphi Redevelopment Commission. Very hopeful next year we'll finally have some funds. We had a little bit of a period there last year where we thought we had some TIP funds, and state government giveth and taketh away, but hopefully in 2018 we'll actually finally start to use TIP funds for something. And that group is incredibly eager to make some improvements to the downtown and to the TIF area. And October 26th, that is a Thursday, 1 o'clock at the Delphi Opera House, stellar closing ceremony. You will receive an invitation in the probably by early next week, if not before then, inviting you. Carolyn, before I leave, I'm supposed to ask if you will speak at that as council president. Not to put you on the spot, I'll give you a minute to think about it. But that ceremony will honor the closing of the Stellar Community Grant, representatives from NDOT, IHCDA, the city, hopefully State Senator Grant Hirschman, Kirksey. We're going to get the entire crew together, KJG Architecture, Delphi Opera House. We get the whole crew together to celebrate, what really is a momentous occasion, and our office is really happy to help plan that and get that taken care of. I would be happy to answer any questions.
Yes, sir.
Mayor, Mr. I have a question. Have you talked to Mr. Steve Smith about access? IDOT will not grant an entryway into that either 5.24 acres or 4.5 acres, whatever it is, there off of the Heartland. He talked to me, I talked to a gentleman who was asking questions about that. and I said I would, if I knew you were gonna be at the meeting tonight, and the mayor. But I was just wondering if Steve had called you to find out if there was anything that you may be able to do through the EDC to help him, because that's a prime area for somebody to build on.
Right. So I just want to make sure, are you talking about the property on the, south of the high school, south of the Methodist church?
Right there by the Methodist where that ditch goes through, just on the other side of the bridge.
Okay. I know the mayor.
Where the substation is.
Yes, okay. We have contacted our engineers, and they have looked at NDOT maps, and there is a restriction. The driveway to the house is grandfathered in as a residential use only. It cannot be used for as a commercial drive because it's on the turn lane if you're getting onto the heartland. So we did a development plan with the County Redevelopment Commission, kind of looking at how can we open up that area for commercial development. Because I agree with you, that's prime real estate. The best option to open it up is for an access road off of the Methodist Church driveway. So after you turn into the Methodist Church driveway, which would have to be converted to a city street, an access road to the south to reach that property. The expensive part is there would need to be a culvert. There's a creek there. So for a private developer to take that on is probably cost prohibitive. So it would probably have to be done with TIF dollars and some sort of city-county partnership on that because it's in the county TIF. I feel bad for Mr. Smith. I haven't talked to him directly, but I've talked to his realtor with Keller Williams, and I feel bad because it looks like it's prime real estate, and I know he's had a lot of people interested in that property, but access is the issue.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Laura, I've had various people ask me, do you ever provide a financial report for the entities that you come and ask for money?
Yeah, I'm happy to. Our financials are private because we're a private 501c3 organization, but to our supporting entities, we would be happy to provide you with financials. We have a very active finance committee that Dick happens to be on that reviews our financials. We are audited every year by Huth Thompson. But if I can